Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a replay review, and today we've got Jango Fett, although on the forum where this was posted it says Boba Fett. So the Fetts, right? Father, son, is that right? Got myself a nice apple juice in the afternoon. I saw this on the forum. He asked for help. He said, Proc, I'm our only light. So I take the bush position on the hill. Then I start to get blind fired. No pens, but there's still a danger, so I change positions. But my team starts flaming me. And they do. I get a little more spotting, but I eventually die. I think because I was still spotted and I didn't know it. Either way, I want to know what I could have done better. Great question. In fact, it's really the only question, isn't it? At the end of the day, every time you play a match, if you're interested in improving at all, you would ask yourself, how do I do better? I think it's a good question. It's really the only question. That is some good apple juice. All right, so Jango is in a M41. My first advice to you, Jango, is when the countdown is going, take a look at your teams, take a look at your situation, and then formulate a plan. Some of the responses to your question on the forum went along the lines of, well, you were kind of screwed. It was an ELC even 90. You did the best you can. Well, if you're willing to accept that answer to your question, then you're probably not going to get much better. Or maybe you're going to go play an ELC even 90. And when I say you, I mean large picture meta you, not you, as in specifically you. You can beat an ELC even 90 with an M41. Happens all the time. People make mistakes. People play better in their M41 than the guy in the ELC even 90 does. Mistakes happen. A good plan executed well. There's all kinds of things that can make you beat an ELC even 90. So what you want to do is come up with your best plan for the best reasons you can come up with, and then go from there, right? The OODA loop, observe, orient, decide, act. Okay, there's lots of versions of that. That's one that gets thrown around a lot. But we're going to look at the setup of the team. So first thing I notice is there's no artillery. So one of your possible plans with an M41D against an ELC could be initially to surf the middle, right? Just kind of cruise around here. You're plenty fast to do that, and maybe you could get some artillery shots on people coming up, but of course there isn't any. So that actually has limited utility other than some SA for your team, or potentially catching the purple team / red team being a little unwise in their pokes and getting a nice light, and then maybe your campers in the back get some shots. So maybe that's not the best plan of action at the very beginning. I would try to use the 1-2 line a little bit, or think about the 1-2 line a little bit on initial positioning. What I would really love to do is catch the ELC even 90 out a little bit. I don't mean by YOLOing into it, but go to a position where I might be able to catch him being over aggressive, because I've been in this position in the M41D, or a tank that's not quite as stealthy as the ELC, and I've had to find a way to get that dude out of the game if I could. All right. I've also been in the other spot where I was ELC even 90, and I've been a little over aggressive, and you will find that happen considerably, or a considerable number of times. So your choice, as you said, was to come up to this spotting bush right here. Not my favorite spot for an early light tank. You're not really going to see very far. You're counting on the enemy team coming way, way down here. I'm going to tell you where I would go in just a moment, but I want to get through a couple things on how you handled this. You're going to come up here, hanging out in this bush. Then you're going to get a little helper guy come up. We got Raptor Gunner. And some of these are anonymous. I don't know who is who in the zoo here. The 279 early gets butt hurt. He is also anonymous. I wasn't able to find out what his name was. Even though I did get into the file, I couldn't find it. It's hidden somewhere that I couldn't see. But GM _ chamber, and a couple of the others get very upset with you. They have a reason to be upset. The whole shenanigans of what they do about it is an entirely different question. But we'll talk about it as we go. So the Pantera comes up. What can you kind of assume with an ELC? You're probably going to get an ELC going fairly deep down the 1-2 line. That's the assumption you have to make. And that's the assumption I would make if I saw this. And I would then formulate a plan to try to counter him that kept me safe as well. So boring down the bushes, trying to go face-to-face with an ELC is probably not the best idea. Maybe this middle bush, but even then, he can probably sneak up with the CVS much closer than I can, and might light me anyway. This is okay in terms of standoff because it's very unlikely he's going to get very far all the way down here, although he could potentially. But there's a better plan. Let's get to that in just a minute. So we go into this bush. This goober in the P44, Pantera is upset. And unfortunately for you, and him to some extent, he gets himself lit. Now I'm going to tell you, you're going to take 2 hits here. You are so unbelievably lucky that those 2 shots did not do any damage to you, because there's another one that's going to come in just a minute. So you go back. You're right, you weren't spotted, but the goober in behind was, and here comes Bozorific fella right there, and you take another hit. Holy cow, how did that happen? I don't know. All right, right here, Django / Boba, the 2 Bobas, the 2 Fets, I guess. It's time to go. You got to get out of here. There's no sense being here anymore. This guy is doing what he's going to do. He's going to keep getting spotted. You have a whole bunch of shooters. Use that to your advantage. It's okay, I think, sort of, to go to this bush, but once all that goofiness started happening, I'm out. And I'm going to go formulate a better plan. Again, we'll talk about what I think the better plan from the beginning is in just a moment, because everybody starts shooting you. So we get lit. Holy cow. All right. Right there, I know that stupid ELC is close. Absolutely know that ELC is close. More than likely, a medium or heavy didn't sneak up that close while you were looking around up there. You have a CVS. You know that. You have optics on there, as you said. So you have pretty good spotting. It has to be, it almost has to be, maybe the Char or something like that, but more than likely the ELC V90 is really close. So we need to go find that dude out. And now, once I know that, my earlier plan is even a better plan, and we'll get there. Because you kind of walk into it, and then Mr. 279 early decides to shoot you. That's super useful. We head back this way. Don't shoot him back. There's no sense in that. That's what you're going to end up doing. Let's go ahead and give you your view here. I really don't know why we came back here with that ELC that close. More SA. The AE Phase 1 is taking hits. Now the Basante's shooting you. It's just a real goofball fest right now. 279 doofus shoots you again. It's let's just talk about that for just a second. They are expressing their irritation with what you're doing. And while it is not right for them to be shooting you, you do need to take that, internalize it a little bit, and maybe ask yourself a question like, why are they doing that? It's not always a fact that they're doing it for a good reason or that you're making a mistake. So don't misinterpret what I'm saying, that just because somebody's getting irritated, pushing you, shooting you, that you're wrong. That may not be true, but you are to some extent here, okay? And I don't mean wrong as in they should be shooting you. I'm just saying what you are doing with your scout really isn't helping out right now, all right? That's just the honest truth. I really have zero idea why we're going to try to get back into this bush. We come up. Holy cow. I mean, that was the most obvious getting lit thing of all time right there. Okay, just being straight up. There, of all the things you did, that was probably the least intelligent of all of them. So now we make a good decision. I like this. We decided to go somewhere else. The goofball Basante shoots. Now we shoot him. I mean, we're just completely going crazy with that. All right, let's talk about this approach real quickly, back to the actual tactic. Be careful about going right down the middle of this road, because if the ELC is about hither, he's got a line of sight through that. Remember, viewing is line of sight kind of stuff, okay? So intervening things is good as I'm trying to get up there. What I would have done is come across the road, and if I got away with it, I'd have gone up the bushes. What I really would have done is I would have dove into this middle. And that was my plan once I saw what you were doing, and I think I'm going to try to encounter an ELC V90. I don't want him to get up here. And the only way I can really do that reliably in an M41 is work this spot right here. Okay, see this little saddle? Keeps me safe from them shooting him, provided I don't come too high. And I can kind of make runs right along the edge of this here. And I might catch that little goofball sneaking up through here, right? Kind of move through, maybe catch him, and we sort of get there. Now, this is about the best thing you did. Using the bushes, try to not knock things over. That's going to let them know that you're kind of coming up. We get a guy lit over there, and all of a sudden we find the Progetto. Fantastic. He's in the bull. Now we're getting to the mistakes the enemy team's making, and how do I... We'll see a few more here, and how do I take advantage of that? They have obviously, and we're going to find this out later, but it's not as obvious right now, but it will be. They have sensed that they're going to have a good push over on the 1-2 line, and they know where their ELC even 90 is, and they've pushed way up. And this is a huge mistake people do on the 1-2 line on proc all the time. They get too close up to their scout and don't allow enough standoff. So let's let this develop a little bit. Progetto gets hit a couple times. We get some nice spotting damage. That's fantastic. Again, we have to be worried about that ELC if he keeps creeping forward. We kind of come forward here. Ever so slowly. Not bad, not bad. And we light that guy and we back up. All right, man. Now, the T-95, to me, that's what I was just talking about, is one of the surest signs that the enemy team has overextended and got a little bit too happy with what's going on. It looks like they've grabbed a lot of real estate. It looks like that their ELC even 90 is doing some good work for them. And the big T-95 has decided to get just a little too close, and he's going to absolutely pay for it. Notice how many guns are still in the game. This is not the time to overexpose on the 1-2 line. Let the ELC kind of creep forward and find the shots. Don't get up there in their face. And nicely done by you getting in there with Mr. CVS and uncovering the great big giant T-95. And then we're going to get to the point where you're going to find the ELC even 90. I like the backup. That's what you need to do. As long as he wants to charge. The reason he's doing that is he knows the jig is up. He has to get in there and get some shots because he's probably actually passed or beamed the ELC at this point. Look at that, 2,433, right? So an initial spot didn't really work out. Spent too much time there. A little bit of shenanigans with the whole shooting each other BS going on, and then a really great decision to come back around here and start to try to find these guys. But for my money, again, we'll go back here. You could have done the same thing by working this bowl, and as we're going to find out, you may even find Mr. ELC boy. If we find the Progetto. Oh, Ship Tick is probably trying to shoot through. Let's just cover that for just a second, and then we get spotted. And it's more than likely, obviously, the ELC is going to outspot you in here based on the camo to spotting thing, even with the CVS. I want to throw this in. Where's the Ship Tick? I don't know if he shot you on purpose. No, I think he was actually going after the Progetto. You will find that. It's one of the dangers of working this bush line right here, especially with a fairly large scout like the Bulldog, the M41D. The shots are going to start going back and forth, and you're going to soak up some sometimes, and it's a bummer. They're not even shooting at you. It's just you're in the way, and you have a pretty big tank. So I try to think about that a little bit based on where I put my tank on these bushes here because there's so many guns left in the game. So you get hit, and you make a good decision, like, I got to get out of here. I need cover. And check it out. Oh, hello. Nice. There he is, right? There's Mr. Even 90. He's looking right at you. You know why? Because he's the one that spotted you, and he knows that you're moving right there. So we found that guy. And this is what I'm talking about. Zooming out here. This position, running around in this bowl, when they overextend in ELCs or mediums or whatever, you can just bring your... Remember, your spotting point is the top of your turret right there. You can just bring your spotting point up to the edge with the CVS, and you are going to grab everyone, even ELC even 90s that are in here. Okay, you're going to be close enough, and he has just overextended. He got really excited. He spotted you a couple times. He pushed you out, and he kept creeping forward, and you found the guy. Now, unfortunately, you don't have enough hit points. There we go. Oh, I thought you died right here. Never mind. Okay, so we... Oh, okay. I forgot about this part. We do want to talk about this part. ELC even 90 counter scout done, dude. You just did it. All right? I think you probably could have done it earlier based on what I was saying. And it was a little bit lucky in terms of I got lit and dove out and didn't die. But that's the general gist of what you're trying to do, minus the part of trying to outspot down the line. That particular technique of moving down those bushes in a scout is valid. It's just very difficult to do against an ELC. Nicely done right there. Now remember, you've been spotted. I haven't counted the seconds. As a general rule, it's about 10. There are some skills that change that a little bit. If you want to make sure, 15 is probably going to make sure you've gone dark. We're going to head back this way. All right, let's talk about this. Take a look at the Progetto. You know he's in the bowl, right? There's no real cover here. There's a couple bushes, but not enough. He's been willing to poke out. He knows you're in this bowl right here, in this saddle down here. All right, he is really close. Look at your lines for spotting. He's well inside that. You're not that stealthy as a scout. This was a really early move back into the bushes. For me, I just keep running. And the further away I go, the better my camo is in relation to that guy as far as, You know, at some point my camo overtakes his ability to see me, and then I can move back through the bushes. Oop, he sees me. Doesn't matter because you didn't have time to get out of there. All right, so just a mistake in terms of paying attention to the mini-map. You knew he was there. For me, I bet you might even, in this case, go over to this rise and go along this edge over here, so at least you get a little cover. The trick there, though, or the problem is you got to Renagati and look at the stack up on the 5-6 line over there. If you were still lit and came up and over, they'll have shots. Potentially guys over here, up here will have shots. So I think your best escape was to bail down this middle. One other thing potentially to think about right there is because you were lit and the ELC 90 died, just do a little circle Urkel right here. Just kind of hang out for a little bit, right? And if you don't see the Progetto poke up and you know you're dark, maybe go see what he's doing. Just take a zing along there, okay? You might even get some shots off your guys over here shooting into the Progetto, but no real hurry to get right back to the bush line. You can wait just a few potatoes, especially if it keeps you alive. All right? So there you go, man. I hope that helps out. You can beat an ELC 90 on proc. It does complicate things and make it more difficult. I think you guys actually end up winning this battle. It was not a bad job overall. There's just a couple big mistakes along the way that hurt you. And really, as you're getting better at this game, it's those mid to late game decisions, especially in a scout, that are going to turn the tide and keep you alive further in the game. I hope that helps, man. Let me know what you think. That's all I've got for today. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We will see ya.